how to factor a quadratic expression using a try and error method. So let's start directly with the example. Number one, the first question is going to be the following. 1, x squared minus 7x plus 10. Okay, how can I factor this? First of all, to factor means just to break it down. Okay, to break it down and write it in what? In multiplication form. Multiplication form. Okay, in multiplication form. As you can see, this is subtraction and addition are involving here. So just break this down into 2 pieces and then write it down in multiplication form. So all you have to do is simply you just open 2 parentheses like this, all right? And then you write just 2 x's here, x, and then x times x will take care of the x squared. But the question is, what will be the next 2 numbers? Okay, so the next 2 numbers is the try and error method that we are going to involve. But how many times you have to try and error? What if you don't get them like for a long time? Okay, let's do this. So you need to find the 2 numbers m and n. Okay, when you multiply them, they have to give you 10, which is the product. This is just the product. Okay, the product of 2 numbers must be 10. And then the 2 numbers m plus n, they must give you -7. Okay, so for some numbers, since the numbers are easy, they can automatically come to your head and then you can write them down. But that may not be the case every time. So maybe something you have to introduce to make it a little bit easier. All you have to do is just look at the 10 or the product part. Find the factors of number 10. Okay, number 10. For 10, we have the following factors. 1 is its factor, 2 is its factor, the 5 is its factor, and 10 is its factor. Okay, so, well, to include both positive and negative numbers, I would say plus and minus, plus and minus, plus and minus, plus and minus. The reason why I do plus and minus is because there is negative here. There is a chance to choose negative and positive as well. So pick the 2 numbers. Those numbers cannot be out of this. They cannot be out of these numbers. Okay, they cannot be out of this. So what 2 numbers can give you positive 10 when you multiply them, when you product? Okay, the product and the sum, don't forget. So the 2 numbers are automatically the -2 and -5, right? -2 times -5, okay? They will give you what? They are positive 10, okay? They multiply to -10, which is this one, okay? What if I add them? Well, -2, you add with another -5, they will give you -7. So that means both numbers work. So go ahead and then plug in the 2 numbers, okay? X minus 2 and x minus 5. So this is the factored form. I just break it down and then write it down into multiplication form. So that means if I multiply this again, I can get back to the original expression. Okay, so this is simply factoring. What if somebody asks me just to solve it? Okay, to solve it instead of factoring it. If somebody asks me to solve it, well, still to solve it, you have to factor it first, but the only difference is this time I have to equate it to 0. Okay, this must be equal to 0. Okay, equal to 0. So, well, this is called the zero product property. So the first parenthesis and the second bracket, okay, whatever you call it. So x minus 2 must be 0 or x minus 5 is equal to 0. So what makes this x minus 2 0? Well, if 2 is positive 2, that means x minus 2 must be 0 or x minus 5 equals to 0. So the x is going to be 2 or the x is going to be 5 because x minus 2 is 0 and then 5 minus 5 is equal to 0. So these 2 and 5 are the solutions of the quadratic equation if it is going to be solved, or if we see solve the equation. Okay. All right, so let's go to number 2, or the second example, number 2. Okay, let's take this example: x squared plus 13x plus 22. All right, so we're gonna follow the same fashion. Okay, the same fashion. Well, the sum must be 13, right? The product must be 22. That means find two numbers and then add them together to get 13, and then multiply them to get 22. So how can I get those numbers? Well, those numbers are from factors of the 22, okay? From the factors of the last term. So those are just 1, right? 2, the factors are 1, 2. What else? 11 and 22. Okay, these are the numbers, right? These are the numbers. It cannot be out of these numbers. Now think about two numbers. The two numbers are obviously 2 and 11. Why? Because 2 times 11 will give me 22, which is this number, and then 2 plus 11, which gives me 13, which is this number, okay, which is this number. So all I have to do is simply x, right, plus 2, this is positive 2, and x plus 11. Okay, so this is the factored form. I factored it. As always, if I want to solve it, all I have to do is, okay, solve. If we want to solve it, x plus 2, right, times x plus 11. This must be 0. To solve it, it must be equal to 0. So this is going to be x plus 2. The first one can be 0, or the second one, okay, x plus 11 must be 0 to get the whole thing 0. Okay, either two of them should be 0, or one of them should be 0 to get 0. So what's going to be the first one? Well, the opposite of positive 2 is negative 2. X is simply negative 2, the opposite of that number, or simply x is negative 11. So negative 11 and negative 2 are the solutions of this quadratic equation. Okay. All right, so just go to number 3. Let's see number 3. We can have different form of quadratic expression again. Let's say 4v squared minus 44v plus 72. What if we have something like this? All right, this is kind of a little bit different, but still we apply similar thing. Okay, so look now, this a, or the coefficient of the v square, is different than 1, unlike the previous examples. So all I have to do is I have to find the GCF. Okay, the GCF means the greater common factor. The greater common factor of which one? The greater common factor of the first term, the second term, and the third term. Okay, so if you don't know how to find the greater common factor, you can watch my other videos, but just for simplicity and then to save time, I'll give you the GCF here. Okay, so the GCF is simply 4. Okay, the GCF is 4. I factored out 4. So what gives me 4v squared if I have 4 outside? Or in other words, you have to divide 4v squared to 4, which gives you v squared, right? And minus what? 34v divided by 4 is what? 11v, right? Plus what is 72 divided by 4, which is just the 18. Okay, so look now, you can recognize the one inside the bracket. Look at this one. Okay, you know this one, v squared minus 11v plus 18. We know this one, right? So I follow the same technique to factor out the one inside the parenthesis, and then I have the 4 here. So just keep the 4 here as always, and then for the next one, open two brackets. So that's going to be v is here, another v is here. V times v will take care of the v square. But how do I know the other numbers? Okay, the same thing. Okay, as usual, just factors of 18. Factors of 18 means factors of this number. Factors of 18 are number 1, right? Number 2, number 3, 6, right? 9, and 18. I just can say plus or minus, plus or minus. I can have plus or minus of these all integers, plus or minus, plus or minus. So my factors cannot be out of this. check the numbers now. What two numbers can give you positive 18 when I multiply them? Okay, when I multiply them, they give me positive 18. Well, negative what? Negative 2 and negative 9, right? So negative 2 times negative 9, which is equal to positive 18. That's what I need. This is the positive 18. What if I add them together? Or if you add them, negative 2 plus negative 9, they will be negative 11, which is correct. This one, okay? So I can go ahead and then do minus 2 and then minus 9. So this is the factored form. If I want to solve this equation, I just go ahead and then equal to 0, and then you follow the same procedure, okay? The same step. Let's see the fourth example, okay? The fourth example is a little bit different. I'm gonna introduce now two variables, okay? So let's say if you have x squared minus 13x and y minus 30y squared, okay? Forget this one is y, okay? So well, don't panic, okay? This is nothing but we have two different variables. All I have to do is now just assume as usual. That means ignore this y and this y for a moment, okay? Ignore for a moment and then write the rest. So that means x squared minus 13x minus 30, okay? Now you are familiar with this one, right? Without the y included in there. So by the same fashion, you have to open the two parentheses as always. You have x here and then you have another x here. X and x is x squared. So the sum and product method. The sum and product method, we have two numbers from factors of negative 30. Those are 2 and negative 15. Okay, sorry, negative 15. 2 and negative 15 is negative 30, right? And then 2 plus negative 15 is negative 13. So the two numbers are positive 2 and negative 15. So what I can do is plus 2, right? Negative 15. Now, this is not done. Remember, I told you just to put the y on the side for a moment. All you have to do is now just go ahead and then plug in the y just here and here without doing anything, without worrying about anything. Just plug in the y at the end. So this will take care of the y squared, the two y's, and then the x's will take care of the x squared. And then if you FOIL it, you will just definitely get this one. Just we can check it if you want, we can check it, okay? So let's FOIL it. X times x is what? X squared, right? X times negative 15y is what? Negative 15x and y. All right, I'm done about the first part, okay? The second, 2y times x is what? Positive 2xy, okay? And then 2 times negative 15y is what? Negative 30y squared, okay? So look at the middle term now. The middle term are like terms, but negative and positive. So this is gonna give me x squared. Negative 15 plus 2 is negative 13 what? Negative 13xy, okay? Minus 30y squared, which is the same as the original equation in here, okay? So I hope you enjoyed the video for today. I will see you another time in another video. Have a great day.